Hello and welcome everybody to the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl number 3 presented by Star Esports. Today we're going to be going ahead and having a double elimination tournament dedicated to our Overwatch Tier 3 community for you guys. Tonight, however, we're going to be having Amplify Gaming versus Citizens in match number 6 of our losers bracket for your casting entertainment. I am going to be Sir Waltham along with Got Moxie.
Hey Waltham, pleasure as always to cast. We're back after a little bit of a 15-minute break, which means that we're settled again in the cast with the water and the post-it notes by the desk just waiting to get in. And I have to say, I'm excited. I always like to see Citizens playing.
It is certainly a very good team, I think, to watch. They got some showmanship to them, if I'm going to be liberal in my description of them. I like seeing it. We are still waiting on a few of them to get into server, so not going to be starting right away, but we will be starting on Lijiang. At least that's the plan.
Yeah, we're set to start in the last time, but we got a little bit of a diversion all the way over to Busan. You know the way it is. You want to go to Lijiang, and then you end up in Busan. Oh, those Uber drivers, Waltham. You have to leave a 2-star review on Yelp. Do people still use Yelp? I don't know.
I was never much one for the social media aspects of that, but if we're rating them by stars, currently Citizens 1 out of 6 right now, looking to get them in very shortly. And Moxie, a little bit earlier in the last game between Magnetera and Old Man, we were talking about how the new patch, the Halloween patch as I'm going to call it from now on, just came through. A lot of different changes for some heroes. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you expect to be the biggest things to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, you're gonna call it the Halloween patch. I'm calling it the pumpkin patch.
Oh, it's so good.
The pumpkin patch basically means that all of you Winston players who were relegated to the sub bench, you can now renew your favor for Overwatch because your hero is viable again. It's not the biggest buff, but for people who were used to not a lot coming their way, it's quite big. You do get that shield having 100 HP more, so it goes down quick, but you can still feel a little bit of that impact. And Orisa players, unfortunately, you just got smacked in the head with the nerf hammer. Your shield now has a cooldown of 10 seconds, which is absolutely huge. If you think about it, with the double shield meta, Blizzard are really cracking down, putting a cooldown on Sigma's shield, increasing the cooldown on Orisa's. They really want to just get rid of this, and it seems like they want to have a bring back of dive.
It certainly does seem that way, although so far it doesn't look like we've seen dive be the most predominant option. I think last game we saw Magnetera Old Man Strength, a lot of pulled pork, a lot of Orisa still trying to be used. Maybe teams are kind of underestimating that 10-second cooldown. They seem to still want to kind of play around that main Orisa shield, getting those combos when you can. I'm hoping Citizens and Amplify don't choose to go that way. I would love to see a little bit of dive. I think it's just going to have to see. I think we're just going to have to wait and see how it pans out.
We've had a little bit of everything so far. We've seen the Tracers, we've seen the Pharah, we've seen the McCrees. odd because McCree is apparently a hero that is still in the game. Not that you can tell looking at the Overwatch pro scene at the moment. A lot of people seem to be quite reluctant to pick him up, even though in the past he was that counter to the Doomfist and the Pharah, both with that flashbang and the Reaper as well. Not a lot of people seeming too eager to hop onto the spurs of that Space Cowboy. But I don't know. Lijiang is one of these where you can run a lot of things. Like, if you get Control Center, you can run the Mei with the Mei wall to set up in that really aggressive positioning of the enemy's first choke, and then just freeze them up, separate them, send them back to spawn one by one as they come in through the door. On the Night Market, you can run the Hammond, you can run... I've seen Reinhardt on Night Market a couple of times. That's always rare but lovely to see. And on Gardens, you can run dive, you can run double shield, you can run pretty much any sort of DPS you want as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we were, we just got off the back of the Old Man Strength Magneterra game. We just had an interview post-game with Dimes. Seems to think that projectile's a lot stronger against Sigma now that Shield has less regenerative abilities and the replacement takes a little bit longer. So I would not be too surprised if we see some more of those projectile heroes. I mean, given we saw a lot of Pharah the last match, so I'm hoping we get to see more of it. I love taking to the skies.
I mean, it did feel before the pumpkin patch that Sigma just kind of had this carry-along stealing that he would put in his pocket and then take out when necessary, a little bit of a sunroof, where anyone that kind of tried to come in and send a projectile into would just find shield. And now you can't really do that approach. You can't have the Sigma put the shield out and then move, and then put the shield out, and then move, and then put the shield out. You have to kind of decide where exactly you want to place it and know that it's going to be there a little bit more permanently than it was previously. So indeed, I think we're going to see a little bit of a surge up in the numbers of people who indeed pick up the projectile heroes, like the Junkrat, like the Pharah, because you do have to remember that D.Va got hit by quite a lot of nerfs in the run-up to this patch, and yes, the defense matrix has been buffed up to a little bit of its former glory, but it still has that distance cooldown, and so we're seeing people not really go with the D.Va, but go with the Sigma in the shift and eating ability, and that's on a really long cooldown, and so if you can bait it out and then put in your proper projectiles, you find so much ultimate percentage.
Certainly, and I think that Lijiang Tower, we're talking all these hypotheticals. I think Lijiang Tower is going to be a very great map to kind of test those, see what these teams are actually feeling. I mean, it is one thing to say stuff in the caster's booth, but we're gonna shortly have players down on the field, ready to go, ready to tear into one another, I'm hoping. And that's really, I think, Lijiang Tower perhaps one of the better experimental turfs to do that on.
It's definitely one of the ones where you can run these really weird, wacky combinations. Like, we see some very odd compositions coming out of teams on Lijiang where you think it's just that spawn bait and they're gonna swap off last second, and then they actually exit the spawn doors with it, and you go, oh, they're committing with this. Well, okay, let's strap in and see where this one goes. Lijiang is always different, and that, I think, is why it's one of my favorite maps. Not only do we see the pharmacy, and I'm a big fan of the pharmacy, but we see so much diversity in how exactly teams decide to come into this. It's not like these certain maps where there's this established meta that if you try and go away from it, it's almost like you're throwing the game. You have to stick to it like a muscle, just clinging on. And Lijiang really does just kind of let teams go crazy.
It certainly does. I mean, right now, Command Center is probably one of the more stringent ones. I think it's a little bit safer to say that that's very barrier friendly. We used to see a lot of Ryan Zarya, but I think that if we see kind of the traditional stick-to-itiveness of the Sigma Ori Doomfist Reaper, that's really where we see it come out on. I don't know if I necessarily anticipate it coming out on Night Market or Gardens as much.
I mean, I'm gonna call it the San Francisco shock effect, right? Lijiang Tower is a very strange one because normally Command Center is one of these maps where you do have to stick with what is sort of just established. But there is an attack which I've seen a couple of teams try and pull off, and one actually managed to make it pretty strong, where they grabbed a Bastion and a Symmetra and a Sigma and an Orisa and an Ana and a Baptiste, and they just did the teleport the Bastion all the way around the point, and they didn't go for the aggressive choke position to hold. They just played on point, went from the high ground to the low ground, and the team, as they tried to commit to the Bastion would just teleport away and shred them from a distance.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're right there. There are some very unique things we can see here. And, you know, maybe it can be where every part of Lijiang Tower we see something a little bit new or a little bit different, or at least certainly something that's non-meta from the prior patch come forward and kind of surprise us, shock us a little bit. That being said, we are ready to get started here. It looks like the entirety of Citizens now in the lobby, and we're going to be starting off on Night Market, the wonderfully lit area of Lijiang.
Yeah, Night Market, so bellies rumbling once again, Waltham. Just all of the food, just everything, all of the signs making this look so appetizing. But no, it will indeed be Night Market that we're starting up. We're still got a little bit of a ways away from seeing what exactly these teams are going to be locking in, but Night Market is one of these where things can go bizarre. And when I say bizarre, I mean we can have a hamster running around in a robotic mech, because that's apparently something that Overwatch has.
But don't worry, Jetpack Cat would be way too crazy. Speaking of crazy, you'd be crazy not to throw in your vote for the Twitch MVP of this match. Keep an eye out over the next few rounds. We're going to be going ahead and announcing that at the end of our cast. So if you want to show the players some love, be sure to do that, as now we can see the players start to decide on what they might be going for the first game of our match here.
Yeah, Amplify look as if they're dabbling around with the idea of dive. You do have Spice on the Hammond. Steven gonna be on the Sigma. Nope, it was a bait. It's not gonna be a dive. It's just gonna be straight up double shield barrier that we've seen for quite a lot of this tournament.
Yeah, and it's looking like that's going to be a similar sentiment from Citizens, not exact. Aiko going to be going on to that in May, perhaps trying to get some section off, some walling capabilities coming through, and they're immediately going to use that wall to try to divide the team, but it's going to get broken down rather quickly. A lot of members falling rather quickly into this fight. Moira's not building up too much ult charge just yet, at least not as much as you'd usually see, but with this, it's looking like Citizens going to be getting to the point and taking first capitalization of it. They're pushing up on Steven, who just unfortunately caught out, capitalized on, and with that, the flip goes over to Citizens.
Yeah, Sigma just isn't able to get out, a little bit too slow to escape the spawn. Cornered Fox is going to be coming up to this Coalescence. He's going to probably have it up just a little bit faster than Sayumi, seeing as his team were taking all that damage, so the healing output was just a little bit more on that side.
Spice getting walled off, going to be using that Fortify just to get out, having to back up a ways. Salieri getting very forward here, realizing they're taking a bit too much damage, have to lean back a little bit. A lot of the members of the side of Citizens getting brought low, but nothing going to be able to be capitalized upon them. Sayumi taking down Smackboy before they can get caught into the flux and suplexed into the ground via some good old gravity. Godbo taking down their counterpart in Coco. And right now it's looking a little bit back and forth, especially with both superchargers coming out. The Mei wall getting dropped, but the Reaper coming in, trying to capitalize upon the positioning of Citizens, but gets mowed down by Sayumi's Coalescence. Corner Fox going to be taken down Aiko in kind, but it might not be enough. Amplify Gaming still a few men behind, but as I say that, Steven taking down Purple, making things look a little bit more even, and now the Coalescence coming out from Cornered Fox, healing up the team, providing that damage and suppression. Steven cleaning up on point as a good tank should. The Reaper not even going to get out from Coco. Spice making sure they don't escape with any fragment of life left.
Yeah, Coco raves in, thinks about maybe dropping in a Death Blossom, but doesn't. Aiko is actually going to go onto the point. They're still trying to stagger at this to get as much point percentage as they can.
Yeah, and Aiko not quite able to Icicle form right onto the point, so they do end up staggering themselves and their team a little bit longer.
Yeah, they do have this Blossom Blizzard combination that they can throw in, freeze them all up, and then let Coco go absolutely ham when no one can move. But it's gonna be down to Smackboy to be able to get out of that range and heal his team with that Sound Barrier.
Certainly, and we're going to be seeing Spice get very far forward, getting walled off though from their own team with the Mei wall, perhaps a little too aggressive. Purple capitalizing upon that mistake. And right now it's just going to be Steven and Quartered Fox on the point. Jenny still on that Doomfist, has not been making too much of a dent in the kill feed, but that being said, the point flipping over to Citizens.
It's last fight territory for Amplify Gaming, and they have to get through one of the hardest chokes to get. If Citizens play this right, they can make sure that there is no potential for a contest. But you do have ultimates up on the side of Amplify. That Soundbar is probably going to be popped either to let that team go aggressive or to save them from Purple's flux.
Yeah, and the grab flux coming in, no sound barrier to respond. Purple going to be taking down Jenny though. The meteor strike not going to be able to come in this time around for this fight. The grab flux from the opposing team not going to be landing anything. Sayumi getting so much value from that coalescence, mowing down Godbone on that Reaper. Reaper not going to be able to throw in those shotguns, and Jenny trying to come in with that meteor strike rather, not going to be finding anything, as not even Spice on the wrecking ball is going to be able to make it back to point.
Yeah, that sound barrier was put in just a little bit too late. 2 had already gone down on the side of Amplify Gaming, so the Lucio a little bit out of whack with the timings, but there's still signs of life. They managed to win a couple of fights, they managed to get a point flip, so they're not quite gone as yet, and they do have a couple of maps to pull this back, especially with this being Gardens. This is when Lucio environmentals really come into play.
Certainly, it is only the second sub-map of Lijiang here. Going to be pushing into it. And Echo, if they choose to go with this Pharah, is a little bit more of what I was expecting on Gardens. I love seeing it. Rack Attack and Echo, I love seeing Rack Attack give that pocket to the Flying Pharah.
Well, Godbone is actually going to go into the Doomfist. I want to see exactly how this goes, because Doomfist just got nerfed into the ground, less shielding, and a much further increase on that charge punch.
And we're seeing Echo try to farm a little bit here from the choke. Both Pharah's going to be taken to this guy. Jenny trying to combat Echo, but it's not going to matter. Coco taking them down with a headshot mid-air. The Mercy going to be getting the res onto that smack, bringing them back up. The Punish unable to come through until Salieri bowls through, shoots Smack in the back. And with that, it will still be first possession going over in favor of Amplified Gaming, but how long can they hold it? They are down a member. Make it 2 now that Godbone has dropped. It's going to currently be a 5 versus a 3, it seems, and Spice and Steven trying to stay behind these barriers, but it's only a matter of time before they break. Steven currently getting bullied by Salieri on that wrecking ball. Echo just doing their best to punish with all these rockets. A lot of percentage built up for Amplify, but it's not enough. Citizens are going to flip it.
But they did get almost a quarter. And Citizens had so many more members that you think that maybe they would just have swarmed the point and completely overrun Amplify and taken the point in next to no time. Godbone gets one onto Rack Attack, though. That is a huge opening for Amplify. They need to move in now. They don't really have any ultimates to try and push in, but it doesn't matter. You've got the advantage in numbers. You have to go now. Certainly,
Coco got pressured down by Jenny, wasn't able to take those shots. The grab trying to come out from Purple, get some pulls off of the bridge. Echo getting brought so low, Jenny cleaning them up with that melee. The mines coming out from Salieri, who gets dangerously low themselves. A lot of melee showing up in the feed right now, and Jenny proving to be the dominant Pharah in this exchange. However, Echo going to be taking down their gunman. Jenny not leaving that one on the chin. Echo going to be dropping for their efforts. And right now, again, the points flipping, but it's looking so close from both of these teams. It's just going to be Spice and Quartered Fox trying to help one another out. Going to be the healing from Quartered Fox and the damage and shielding from Spice. Supercharger goes out, doesn't really find a whole lot. Steven coming in on the Diva, trying to give that extra pressure, trying to get that extra tanking capability. The Matrix coming in, and it's going to be Jenny with this Rocket Barrage. They may not invest at this fight. Something to look forward to, though. Rack Attack actually getting the kill with the Mercy pistol, and it might just be the Hammond as last on point. Yep, looks like Salieri's going to roll away.
Yeah, and now if you're Amplify Gaming, you try and go aggressively. You've got a barrage on the side of Jenny. Echo also has a barrage. So it's going to be whichever Pharah manages to find the most value with their ultimates. It's going to be a huge opener and decider in this next fight's victory.
Certainly seems like it might. We're going to be seeing the Rocket Barrage come out from Echo, but is countered by Steven's Matrix. However, does pick up Spice. Kill still looking favorable for the defending team Amplify. Smack Boy going down, Quartered Fox going down. There's no healing for Amplify now. Not looking so favorable for them now, especially as we have Salieri spinning to win with that Hammond in a minecart laden field. With that, it's going to enable the flip for Citizens.
I mean, you know you've made it, Wolfen, when you cast a curse the enemy team, and that was just a little bit of a cast a curse there. For Amplify, left without any supports, there's like someone trying to run around without a head is just not going to work. Jenny does still have this barrage and Steven this bomb, though one of them will be looking to find some value, probably one and the other just going to be a little bit of an opener trying to panic citizens into throwing in that coalescence.
Right, and we're seeing right now the Ori take up an early position. Godbone taken down early. Eiko now has a little bit more free reign of the sky. They don't have to worry as much about being punished. The Coalescence going to be coming out now from Sayumi with the man advantage online. Sayumi not painting so much of the point, going to be trying to focus on the sky, but it will be Jenny taking down the sky target in Eiko. Godbone taking down Rack Attack. The pharmacy no longer a threat. Jenny dropping down Salieri with that rocket barrage. And because of that, it's looking pretty good for the side of Amplify. They needed that win here. And the res even going on to Jenny to keep that Pharah in the fight, build up a little bit more of a rocket barrage percentile here. Godbone getting taken down at the very end, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too crucial.
Yeah, and they've got the coalescence as well for when citizens try and start this contest. It comes out pretty early. There is still one person on the point, so citizens not quite out of the picture just yet.
Yeah, Salieri still playing that spin to win. Eiko taking down Jenny, going to be a crucial kill in this Pharah matchup. Godbone with the kill onto Sayumi is a lot of healing that will be gone out of this fight. And on top of that, no more ult for the Coalescence. Both DPS, or both supports getting taken down by Eiko. Different fashions, however. And right now we're seeing Steven try to do a little bit of contest with that Hammond. Not going to pay off. Diva Bomb coming in just to buy some space. The Gong coming. It's going to be flipping over to Citizens. Can the touch be made by Amplify?
Well, they tried, but Spice goes off the map. I hate to tell you, right, not so much a dive here, where that charge ain't going to get you over that chasm.
And Smackboy almost getting the boop on the opposing Diva in purple. Not going to be so successful, though. Cornered Fox actually getting a kill. That's what the now attacking team needs, but it's not going to work out too well for them. They can't quite make it to point. Purple throwing themselves off the map. Not quite sure what happened there. The Coalescence coming out, this time from Sayumi. It's going to be doing its job of keeping everybody alive. Godbow not quite able to put down that damage, and because of that, Citizen's going to be taking our first point here at Lijiang.
Amplify simply weren't able to deal with the damage coming in from all sides. They were either able to lock down the Pharah, or they were able to lock down the Widow. And when they were focusing on one, the other was just finding all of the angles and doing all of the damage. Coco in those last engagements was just on the sideline shooting essentially for free because all of Amplify are just concerned with trying to get the Pharah out of the sky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very tough spot. So Citizens going to be taking a little bit of a lead here, but Amplify certainly not in the worst position yet. It is only 1-0, and we do go on to our map pick and ban phase. So Amplify gonna have something to work with here, Mox.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more than something to work with. They seem to come alive a lot more than they had on Night Market. Whether they it just been a little bit of time to warm up. Maybe it was just a couple of miscommunications that managed to get sorted out in the next map. That they're showing signs where they really can pull it back, and that they're definitely going to put up one hell of a fight.
Certainly look forward to seeing what map they're going to be fighting on next as we talk about it. Citizens up for the ban state. Not quite sure what they're going to want to go with here. And I want to talk about the Hammond play. I love seeing the Hammonds. I know it's not been relevant for a good while, but it's still so fun to watch every once in a while.
I mean, it's so goofy. but those, if you want to talk about control points, getting the Hammond mines up and online is absolutely huge for your team, because it locks down so much of an area, and the enemy have to decide whether they're going to commit to clearing the mines or whether they're just going to dance around them and hope that they don't get pinballed in.
Yeah, I mean, again, you nailed it. Crucial on those control point maps. It does look like, however, we're not going to be banning a control point map, the ban going on to Dorado, meaning that, according to Amplify Gaming, the next map we will be going to will be Eichenwald. Haven't seen it in a little while. I'm excited, hoping that we get to see a little bit more Pharah, as I'm just a Pharah fanatic.
Pharah fanatic. Well, I'm also a Pharah fanatic, so hello, fellow Pharah fanatic.
Hello. Good to be here at this Pharah Anonymous meeting.
Pharmacy Anonymous, although I do have to admit, normally I was the one on the other end of the healing. I was stuck behind Defara watching as she pumped in all the damage and took all of the glory of play of the games, but it's an absolute joy to watch the Varas really be free to reign the skies. Iconville definitely one of these ones where you can play Pharah either on the attack or the defense. I normally give the advantage to the Pharah on the defense because you do have a little bit more control on where exactly you hide and disguise yourself from all of those really open sightlines, whereas if you're the aggressing Pharah, you either have to hope that the enemy don't have a good McCree, or you have to take that long left side flank.
Yeah, and I don't know if the teams are going to be willing to quite do that yet, but another plus side of Eichenwald, aside from all the glorious pharmacy possibilities, is that we haven't seen this map yet in this tournament on this newest patch. It's going to be a nice little eye-opener, perhaps, to see how these teams have been preparing in the pumpkin patch, as I'm going to borrow. And I'm very excited, though, to see what kind of preparations around Eichenwald, if we're going to be seeing perhaps these teams just continue running the Sig Ori, or they go something completely different. Maybe they go dive, who knows?
Yeah, well, the previous series victors confessed that they'd been playing on the PTR. I will admit, I get the sense that both Citizens and Amplify have been sticking with the live version. They seem to be a little bit more leaning towards what was meta instead of what will be coming into meta. It can still work, especially if you're able to play that Sig Ori combination as well as these guys have been playing it so far. But I will admit I am hoping for a little bit of a diversity and maybe a little bit of dive.
Couldn't have said it better. Dive, it's going to be at least the number 2 in my wish list of games to cast in Overwatch. What's not going to be that high is Godbone on Bastion on the attacking phase. It's possible. It'd be a chuckle. It would definitely be a severe chuckle, but I don't know about Amplify Gaming's composition right now. But it looks like Aiko going to be choosing to elect with some Pharah wisdom, as we were talking a little bit before, Mox.
Yeah, so Aiko is just going to be trying to use all of this tower in the very middle right before you get to that point to just disguise themselves from sight from all of the citizens. And so if they play this right, they're gonna be able to just wallop so much damage into the attackers as they come out of spawn that they should already be a good 30% up to the barrage before the first approach even begins.
And fascinating for me to see Purple and Salieri on that Ryan Zarya combo. I honestly sometimes forget this is a combo because of how little we see it, but with that we're seeing the double shield composition push forward. Jenny on that Pharah trying to do something, not going to be quite getting so much ult charge, at least not compared to their counterpart in Aiko, who is building up a ton of ult charge off of this Bastion. And the Immortality Field coming out very early. A big pin onto Godbone from Salieri, who gets punished. Aiko, however, brought back up in the mix, however, due to all the chaos right now. And it looks like the defending team, despite taking some notable losses, is going to be recovering and stabilizing, in fact, pushing away the attacking team for now.
Yeah, so they managed to stabilize, and now they're gonna have a little bit of a leg up ultimate-wise. Aiko is so much closer to that barrage than Jenny. In fact, at that 26% that Jenny's got, now 32% to Aiko's, and you have one whole Pharah barrage. So that's probably gonna be the opener, although they may be waiting for Sayumi to build the nano up. As I say, that does now come online, so that's probably gonna be going straight onto the Pharah, trying to keep them alive.
That would be a very crucial drop. So much damage can be achieved with that. We're going to hear the sights come out from Coco, able to apply so much pressure. It's actually going to be the Reinhardt getting the nano boost, who drops rather quickly. Godbone tearing down both those tanks. There is no more front line for the defenders right now. A very tough spot for them to be in. Sayumi and Coco kind of stuck off in their own little corner. They're going to get cordoned off if they don't make something severe happen right now. And it looks like Amplified Gaming just going to take that first point easy peasy.
Yeah, and Slurry actually swaps the Hammond, which means that all of that Ryan ultimate charge is reset to 0, trying to get that still on the point, but alas, tragedy strikes, he isn't actually able to touch before that clock ticks all the way up. And now if you're Amplify Gaming, you're in the position that every Bastion wants to be, on a moving payload behind an Orisa shield with a Batiste there to back you up in case things get dicey.
Yeah, it looks like I spoke very much too soon. Godbone proving to put forth a very entertaining game here. However, somebody who's not entertained, Smackboy taking that early shot from Coco. Now, as the cart gets moving, Rack Attack going to be joining the other DPS player in the death room as we wait. The cart's still going to be moving, though, despite the player losses from the attacking team of Amplify. They don't really seem to be bothered. Salieri doing a little bit of contest, but not too much effect.
Yeah, Citizens just kind of seem to be satisfied to just let Amplify Gaming roll on through, but as I said, that Coco does get the pick onto Jenny. The res will come through. They have both teams have ultimates, and finally one comes out.
It's going to be taking down Godbone, but there is going to be the possibility for a res to come through with that immortality field down. It's looking less likely, however. Salieri tried to go for the mines right onto Cart, but did get pulled right as that happened. Going to getting the knock onto Steven. Jenny seem to taking themselves out with some damage. A lot of self-kills coming up in the feed right now. It will be Smackboy popping that Valk to help win this fight. They want to seemingly take this Streets phase without any losses. Aiko making sure to take down that immortality field. The grab coming out from Purple, who wants to have this hold be successful here onto the field, but it doesn't really seem like it's going to buy much. The tank battle seeming to go on as the fight seems to be devolving way before the cart. The Mercy getting bullied a little bit by the Hammond Salieri, as well as Rack Attack bullying onto Smackboy, who does not get away for free.
Yeah, Citizens pull that back somehow, some way with that grab. Amplify Gaming sinks so many ultimates into that you really do feel them right in that pocket. Steven is going to have the Flux up and Jenny is going to have the Barrage. They could combine this, they could not. They might just try to decide to put one in separately, see how much they get for it. So Yumi is going to have the Nano, and that's probably just going to go into Sailory to try and build up those mines.
Ooh, and Jenny going to be getting a nice double kill with that Rocket Barrage. And that being said, yeah, the Nano Boost does get committed, not so much effect though. Salieri taking down Jenny doesn't seem like it's going to be enough, as this Hammond going to be quick cleanup and the cart moves through second point.
Yeah, so not as quickly as that point A take, but they are managing to push this payload. And Citizens, they haven't really seemed to find much of any sort of stabilization other than when they won that fight off the back of the grab, and even then it seems a little bit temporary. And Aiko is actually going to swap off onto the Junkrat, so just gonna try and pump in so much damage into the side of these double barriers, trying to take out all of those cozy, well, I don't know, what are they, like hexagons? Hexagons of safety.
We will have to see the mines getting dropped. A lot of clears from Steven with that Sigma shield. Godbone taking down Rack Attack though with a nice headshot. No res available for the defenders, but they will be, at least anyway, rather close to their spawn. It's going to be Purple and Steven just kind of fighting it out a little bit. However, it proves to not be Steven's universe. In fact, as Aiko takes them down. And right now, it's a repel from the defense, but they're going to have to do it a couple more times.
They are, but they are building up to this grab, and they have won the fight off of that ultimate alone previously, so Purple's definitely going to be looking for that one. And also, you do have to remember, you've got a Reinhardt, you've got a Junkrat. They just have to go press W into that grab, and they're probably going to get their ultimates online just with that.
It will be a very fast grab. We're going to be seeing Coco pop those, or very fast ult build into the grab. The grab going to be coming out, only catching the side of Steven. Going to be Spice getting that, using that Fortify ability to get out. Aiko getting rezzed up, but the kill still going in favor of Amplify. They are seeming to get rocking and rolling here on Eichenwald. Purple just trying to play these corners, trying not to get killed out too late by Spice. They will make it back just in time to get behind that Rhine shield. Salieri going to come in swinging, but it looks like a regroup from the defense for a moment.
But they're going to be able to contest, and at the moment what they're trying to do is buy time for Aiko to get this tire online, because it has to be huge, but it could bail the team out.
It really could. It has to happen rather quick. Coco switching onto the Tracer to perhaps buy a little bit more time, be a little bit more maneuverable. The grab Flux coming in, going to be landing only onto the Zarya. Purple getting slammed into the ground, not killed because of it though. The tire coming out, will it land? It only lands onto Jenny. Jenny going to be taken down. No more Doomfist into this fight, especially with Smackboy getting followed up on by Coco, making sure that Mercy can't have res. No healing, no res is not a good situation for the attackers to be in, especially given the spawn advantage. This fight getting pushed back farther and farther, but the attacking team not seeming to want to make a full retreat call here. They might just be waiting for those few members to come in. The Pulse Bomb going to be whiffing, and the Earth Shatter coming in from Salieri going to be blocked by the shield coming out from Steven. Both Coalescences coming out, as well as a Dragon. This fight has not ceased yet. Godbone getting a double with the Dragon. That is crucial. You need to get those kills fast on the back end of these escort maps, which is exactly what the attacking team is trying to do. Sayumi, the only Moira on point, will fall, and the card's going to move ever closer to that final tick. Salieri going in with that Hammond, building up those shields, doing the stall as Hammond can. The Meteor Strike from Jenny, trying to get something, anything, or at least build up those personal shields. Not going to quite be successful. This stall right now is being so successful from the defense right now. It doesn't look like Amplify's quite able to make the kills go fast enough. The Supercharger coming out from Spice to do a little bit more damage will be taken down rather quickly by Salieri, and in response, Smackboy dropping that sound barrier. The kill from Echo onto Jenny is crucial. The defense needs this if they want to start making things turn around. As we hear that tone, it is signifying that we are going into overtime, but the kills are going in favor of the defense. Somebody from the offense needs to get there at the very last second. It will just be Godbone on that Tracer left on cart. It will be the Moira rushing in to try to help them, but Cornered Fox not there fast enough. As Godbone drops, so does Corner Fox. It looks like the time is nigh for the end of Amplified's push. They're not going to make it to third.
I mean, all of that fight, that last little bit, was just teetering on a knife's edge, Wolfram. It could have gone any way. But Citizens able to get that tire up really bailed them out. I know it only landed onto one, but it was a sort of domino effect. Takes the Doomfist out, then the Mercy thinks she can go for the res, then you see the Tracer immediately just lock onto that target and mow the Mercy down. It was the sort of target-acquired Predator moment where you just saw the snap onto that support. And then after that, Amplify Gaming, they're just left on the back foot constantly. They think maybe they should pull back, but then they get a couple of people back into the fight and they want to push back in. But you have to remember, Citizen Spawn is so close that to be able to find any sort of footing on that payload, the attackers really have to just absolutely roll the defenders into this point where they just can't come back, even if they do manage to pick up a kill of their own. And that just simply doesn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, in this case, it sometimes is quantity over quality. As long as you're getting those kills in a quick fashion, you might not care how they're occurring. And while we do have a few moments before the round starts, would like to give a thanks to Wikitrix for the Prime sub. Thank you very much, my friend, as well. While we have that moment, anybody, if you guys are feeling like throwing some social media endorsements out there, we highly encourage it. We love seeing you guys. We love interacting with you. You want to stay up to date on all the Overwatch All-Stars Brawls tournaments, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Give us a follow on Twitch as well. Whatever your preferred method of communicating with people in this modern day and age is, be sure and spread the love.
Well, Wolfram, you weren't a fan of Godbone on the Bastion on attack originally. What's your stance on him on defense as the Bastion?
I think it's... I don't think it'll be entertaining, but I think it's going to be super effective here. That is, if this, that is, you know, if they don't immediately get burned down by Jenny on that Pharah in the sky, doing so much damage. And then the Bastion sees them coming through, the Maywall coming in to try to choke down some of those sight lines. The Mowdown coming in, taking down Salieri. That Reinhardt not having a great time against this Bastion. And the Rocket Barrage already coming in from Jenny. However, there is point presence. It's going to be Purple trying to get the team to re-divert their resources onto the point, but Amplify's not going to be falling for it. It will just be a little bit of stagger coming out from Coco and Rack Attack. Not going to be enough, though, as Coco's stuck in a very uncomfortable spot.
It seemed as if Citizens would be able to take that easily. They got the Orisa out of the fight. You think, okay, yeah, main tank gone, just collapse onto the Bastion. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as that, because Amplify are actually running two main tanks, and they've also got Batista with the Immortality field. And then Jenny's able to get the barrage off. Smartboy uses that as a sort of smokescreen to get Spice back into the action. If you're Citizens, however, you did manage to build up ultimates in that push. It's only the Coalescence, but if you pop that, Amplify Gaming, they don't have as much sustain.
All right, and this is some clever play. Jenny knowing that the team's going to be taking a little bit of time to recollect themselves, so they'll get some free charge. And right now it's looking a little bit split from the side of Citizens. They're trying to chase down Jenny on that Pharah, but they don't seem to quite have the range to do it with the... well, they don't really seem to have much range, with the exception of those right clicks from May. And right now, Purple taking down Godbone after the Immortality field is lowered. Jenny going to be dropping that... Rocket Barrage not going to be fighting anything, though. Coco having a little bit more success with his ult, however. as those kills come through, it's finally going to be Citizens getting some point progress after about 2 minutes.
Not going to lie, it looked dangerous for Citizens. I was watching Cornered Fox's ultimate meter just tick up as they just kind of loitered around that point, and I was worried that as soon as they would commit, the Batista ultimate would come out, and then there would be so much damage coming in that all of that waiting would have been for naught, but they do manage to collect that point. They proved me wrong. Rakitek is going to have the Sign Barrier, Steven has the Flux. Both of these two, they're going to cancel each other out, so it's going to be up to both teams to try and pull one from the other.
Right, and Godbone looking to get a good opening here so their team can contest cart, perhaps quite early, taking a very high and far angle. You can't say you necessarily blame them, but Salieri going to be pushing up, getting that charge. Coco taking down Godbone, perhaps a little bit forgetting the forest for the trees there from the sniper. A lot of ults being committed. Salieri dropping that Earth Shatter, not going to be finding too much, but the kills still coming through from the side of Citizens. They're looking good despite getting res. Godbone going to drop once again, and the tanks from Citizens are getting quite aggressive here.
Yeah, very aggressive, but no one from Amplify is alive to be able to punish them, and so that payload is just going to keep on moving. I don't think it stopped once. Purple has this grab. It's won them 2 fights before. He's going to be setting up quite aggressively, trying to find a sort of early opportunity to use it.
And he's going to find that opportunity, but he whiffs. It doesn't end up netting on anything. This time the Rocket Barrage coming in from Jenny, going to be landing onto 2. Both tanks down for the now defending team, I believe. And with that, we are seeing a little bit the Reaper Death Loss of Coco going spin to win, and so many different fashions. Rakitek giving the punch to Smackboy. That's a little bit of an ironic statement there, but Rakitek getting the kill onto Godbone as well. Not gonna quite prevent the defense from holding here. Spice look like they're gonna take a quick jump off the bridge to recollect themselves.
Yeah, and Steven swaps onto the Zarya, which makes me suspect that maybe Spice is going to put down those Orisa superchargers, and then if they can't find value, swap onto the Reinhardt, because Salieri is just doing so much, managing to create all of the space for his team, and they're capitalizing on it well from this. They need to find something to just stop these guys from just going as ham as they are.
They really do, and right now the supercharger is going to be coming up from Spice, as well as the Coalescence. Jenny getting an early kill onto Sayumi. A lot of healing gone from the attackers, but Purple taking down Jenny. There's a little bit of a trade there, but you can't necessarily call it even. The Ryan going for the charge, but the halt or the Fortify coming in from Spice going to be keeping them up and not moved. The Earth Shatter coming in, just walking past that Ori barrier, going to be landing and hitting a few members. The cleanup comes in, and the cart continues to move forward for Citizens.
Citizens are just taking full advantage of this Orisa nerf, the 10 seconds. You're really starting to feel it. Godbone's onto the May. These are just the stagger picks. They're trying to just find some way to just keep on going onto this payload.
Right, and Salieri going to be going for the charge early on, but misses. Going to be waiting for that freeze effect to be wearing off. Takes down Cornered Fox. A lot of members from the defense really low right now, and they're not going to be able to contest cart. It's going to be Citizens coming up with the success.
Amplify seem like they're very stubbornly sticking with what was previously meta. And Citizens look as if they're willing to be a little bit more experimental. Not with the Winston, but with the Reinhardt. Reinhardt didn't get touched in the pumpkin patch, but Orisa got nerfed, which means that you can be a little bit more aggressive with the Reinhardt, walk past those Orisa barriers, know when you can put the shadow down, because you just have to count those 10 seconds out. And Salieri is taking full advantage on that.
Right, and we've seen a couple of whiffs come through from Salieri, but it doesn't seem crippling enough for the team of Citizens to really mind it. If you know your Ryan's going to get value pretty consistently, you don't mind the 1 or 2 times he doesn't. I think that right now Amplify are most likely going to have to realize that what they're running now is not going to do them against this comp coming through from Citizens, who just looked pretty practiced on things outside of what we've been typically seeing.
I mean, it's lovely to see the Reinhardt. It's rare, they're an endangered species. Whenever I see one, I always feel like we should put it up in a zoo so that it doesn't die out in the wild and become an Orisa main. But it really is nice to see him back in his natural habitat. And Purple on the Zarya, yes, you did have that one grab that we're not gonna mention. But the others, they had such an impact on the game. They turned the team fight around and Amplify. After them, they always just seemed to be left on the back foot. They didn't have the support ultimates to deal with them. They didn't have the DPS or tank ultimates to go with those aggressive defensive ultimates that we sometimes see come out when teams get stuck in grabs, that they're just not running the counters that they need to be swapping onto, or indeed the mirror. Like, we did see a swap onto the Zarya, but we saw the continuation of the Orisa, and we saw exactly how well that went for them when Salieri just walked past the Orisa shield and just put all of Amplify straight into the ground.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I'll be honest, the first point was looking real good for, their first point defense was looking really good for Amplify. They seemed to have the pathing that Citizens were going to take. They seemed to know it very well. Jenny able to get a lot of damage in very early on, making Citizens have to take a little bit more time, kind of think themselves through. You wait for those cooldowns to come off, but they just weren't able to hold it as well as you would be led to believe based off of those early percentages.
Yeah, so Amplify, they do seem to have the sort of read onto Citizens, but likewise, Citizens got the read onto Amplify, because both teams did exactly the same thing. And Citizens did the same thing, but they went in without ultimates a couple of times, then they collected a couple and went in properly. Amplify, they put in ultimates almost every time that Citizens went around and came in. It sort of felt like a little bit of a carousel. All of them, just with one team going around the same way and then coming along again and then coming along again. The difference was that Citizens just kind of had the sort of nest egg that they then went into with the Coalescence just opening things up for them, whereas Amplify, they'd put in ultimates previously to make sure that they won the last couple of fights, which means that they just had less to be able to battle Citizens out with. And we saw that the Reaper Death Blossom took the Mercy out so that the res couldn't come through. Maybe if that Mercy got the res off, things would have been a different story and we'd be looking at a 1-1. But indeed, it's not the time to be talking of the past. It's gonna be Busan that we're headed to. And if I'm looking at the scores, Amplifier in a very tough spot. They're 2-0 down and they need to start this reverse sweep.
They really do, and it looks like that, at least in terms of tanks, they're not going to be too quick to swap off of those tanks, which, I mean, we talked about it, Mox. It's going to be tough if they choose to continue to run this. Jenny on this Genji is a very peculiar choice. Godbone on the Sombra, I look forward to seeing. I don't know whether it's going to be a strong pick or not. It might just even be for a little bit of disabling in case they do anticipate the dive, which it looks like Citizens is going to come out with.
I mean, I was waiting for you to start fanboying because this is traditional dive. This is Tracer, Genji, Winston, D.Va, Anna's, and this is suddenly like we're transported to another era. And Amplify, the way that they're going to react to this is by swapping back to this Sigma Ori, and we've talked about it, Wolfram. It's just something that hasn't been working out for them.
It certainly doesn't seem like it has quite yet. And seeing how Citizens decide to play around with this dive composition, something we haven't seen in quite a while from them. And with that, both teams taking an early presence onto the point that Winston trying to get so much cleave. That May really going to be putting the threat onto Aiko's Genji, though. And Coco taken down by an early icicle from Jenny. If you're able to land those icicles with May, it can be so crucial. The Halt Rock combo onto Salieri provides a death for this team even further. And this May seems to be really hampering on to this dive style composition right now. And it's going to be Purple just getting staggered out with point progress building for the side of Amplify.
Yeah, so dive thrives on targets that are alone and easy to jump onto. And the composition that Amplify are running, it's not anti-dive as such, but they're playing very together, very all around each other. So if one target gets dived, you're essentially just diving the entire enemy team. What's going to be different in the next attack is that Rack Attack is going to have this nano. And they can choose to put it onto the Winston to try and build Primal up faster, or they can wait for Aiko to get the Blade online and go absolutely ham. The problem is that there's a high risk that Smackboy is going to have the sign barrier up if Aiko gets the Blade online.
And certainly will have to be keeping an eye out on that. Right now, not a whole lot of fight taking place on point just yet. It looks like both teams or Citizens rather, trying to get a little bit more positioned than that. The jump going on towards Godbone from that D.Va. The Genji going to be dropping that Blade with the nano boost, taking down Cornered Fox as soon as that Coalescence comes down. Also gets Smackboy, didn't have the sound barrier, but better safe than sorry, as I've heard tell. And Coco doing their best to clean up point with the rest of their team. And now we're going to be seeing the point flip over to Citizens in the nick of time.
Oh, that was an absolute tragedy in action. Smackboy died 2% away from the ultimate that would have saved his team. Oh, that's a painful one. And now if you're Amplify Game, you've got ultimates, but on the other side, Citizens have the Transcendence. And that can bail you out of so many things, Wolfram. You don't need to land it like you do a sign barrier. You don't need to be alive when you hit the ground. You just have to be alive when you press Q.
Certainly the case. We're going to be seeing if they can make it work for them. They're going to be initiating it without any ults. Jenny going to be dropping that Blizzard in. The Diva Bomb to respond, though, taking down that Ori shield. 10 seconds without a shield. Coco getting the double with the Pulse Bomb is crucial for turning that fight around for Citizens, but Sayumi dropping going to be crucial. No more damage amp coming through from that Discord Orb. Doesn't look like this team's going to be bothered, though, as Citizens continue to pick off their targets and win these fights.
Yeah, but they put in the Transcendence, and unfortunately it's a little bit premature, so the Blizzard does go down. Maybe Jenny would have been better off keeping a hold of that, putting it into this next fight that Amplify are going to be coming into, but my eye is going to be onto Steven, because this Flux, if it picks up members of Citizens, if they can manage to get that HP down fast enough, it's going to guarantee you kills.
Indeed, we'll have to see if those kills are going to be coming through. Purple right now, just kind of posted up on point with their other tank, perhaps looking for any weak targets. A weak cut in the team as it goes. The grab flex coming in, only going to be landing onto the Winston. Purple getting taken down with some very aggressive kills here. And Cornered Fox getting taken down by Echo. That Moira is so much less capable for sustaining herself against a Genji dive like that. The healing from that Moira being reduced. And Gogo absolutely zipping around Steven. Power of space apparently no more powerful than the power of time. Coco gonna be taking these, and the time is ticking up for Citizens.
Yeah, and they're gonna have these two offensive ultimates to try and hold the point, so it's painful if you're Amplify. You're coming in for Coalescence, but you're gonna be going up against a Blade.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even really gonna matter. Corner Fox gets taken down after the Coalescences popped, just drilled down, nobody able to make it back to point. And right now, I think the numbers are speaking for themselves.
I mean, I'm just happy that Dive is viable again, Wolfram. I came into Over in the era that Dive had just started trickling out of the meta and the favor of ladder. So it's really nice to get to see that the bygone era just kind of brought back. So Overwatch meta feels like the world of fashion, in that it just keeps cycling back around, and what was popular in the 80s is now popular in the 2019s. I don't know, but Jenny is gonna be going with not the McCree onto the Mei. They both begin with M, so close enough. And Godburn opting for the Reaper, but Salieri back onto this Reinhardt. And Spice, maybe they've learned from their lesson. They're gonna be on a Reinhardt too.
Yeah, it's going to be the Ryan Zarya. I'm more interested in Echo on this soldier pick. You don't see him come out that often, and it looks like we might be seeing the reason why Echo gonna actually be claiming the kills onto Spice. And then on the Smack Boy, he heard me. He's apparently talking to me in the caster's booth. He hears me saying these things about him, cleaning up these kills. And with that, Citizen's getting very aggressive right now. Gonna be pushing in. The Reaper sectioned off a little bit. That is not a spot Godbone wants to be in. Can't even quite get away. And with that, haven't even capped the point yet, but Citizens win the fight.
I mean, haven't even capped the point, and look at this ultimate meter on the side of Echo. Picks up 3. Likes to prove casters wrong. You know the way that players are. 82% to this tech visor. Sayumi as well. Absolute monster on the set at the moment. 97% to the Transcendence, and that's gonna trump a Coalescence, especially when it just got shattered!
Yeah, big shatter on the 4 people cutting down the Coalescence. Not sure about that Transcendence, though. That was a big shatter that got a lot of value. Still only 20% for the side of Citizens, though.
Yeah, and so, yes, okay, you put in the Transcendence one, perhaps you would have been much better off keeping it in your pocket, especially when Steven has this graph. But Echo does have this tac visor, and so he might choose to start it defensively when his team are caught in to kind of dissuade Amplify from trying to press in with the grab up.
And it looks like Citizen's going to be going onto the point at the very last moment. The Brig rally coming out. Echo going to be dropping off of that high ground, trying to just lay that damage. And Coco, however, going to be finding the most value with their ultimate. Echo likes proving everything I say wrong, as both of them going to be getting 2 kills with their ultimates. A 2-for-1 for 2 sale.
Yeah, Amplify just didn't have the chance to put in what they were hoping to bring to the table in that engagement. Steven dives with the grab up. Purple gets to put his in instead. You do have ultimates if you're Amplify, but so far we have seen that it really does matter if you land them.
It certainly does. And right now, we're seeing a lot of ults being committed. We saw the grab. We're seeing the blizzard. That's a lot of crowd control being brought to the table here. And with just one loss onto Smackboy, it looks like the point flip's going to go for Amplified.
Yeah, and now it's going to be up to these Rhine games, the Rhine mind games, because Salieri must know that Spice has got a shatter, and if he lands it, then Godbone's going to put in that Death Blossom.
Right, and we're right now seeing if they can set that up. The high ground, however, belongs to Citizens. They're going to be dropping down. Well, Salieri is going to be dropping down. The Earth Shatter does not seem to find too much from Spice. A lot of members really low from the side of Amplify. Does not seem to be enough. And once again, attack visor coming out from Aiko, waiting to just put those bullets into whoever he happens to come across. Oh, but the Reaper's right behind him. Godbone going to be dropping the Death Blossom, and in response, we're going to be seeing Sayumi pop that Transcendence. The point going to be flipping over for Citizens with some great reaction time to Godbone.
I mean, that Zenyatta Transcendence was absolutely picture perfect on the timing. And now they can go once again aggressively. Smackboy does have the sign barrier. That's probably going to have to just be popped to let his team try and approach this point. 94% on the board they have to be able to touch, and they have to find some sort of way to hold on.
And a lot of healing gone with Cornered Fox and Smackboy being dropped. The grab from Purple going to be dropped right onto the middle of the point. Salieri trying to go for the Bulwark charge onto the grab. Not going to be finding anything but Coco and Aiko say, don't worry about it, fam. I got you. As the point ticks down, it's going to go in favor of Citizens.
I mean, Wolfen, we talk about the Reinhardt being a rare beast, but the Soldier?
Yeah.
And not having to swap off it. The Soldier found so much value.
Yeah, I am pleasantly I'm happy with how wrong I was about the Soldier in so many instances, right? It seemed like, oh, you know, this map has a lot of inlets. You might not be able to find so much straight line of sights, any of that, but it just seemed like Aiko had the angles, knew what to take. It was incredible.
I mean, Soldier thrives off the high ground. And if one thing Mecha Base Busan has a lot of, it's high ground. You've got all of those walkways, you have those walls that come up and sometimes completely destroy your plan of fading out of the action and just stop you because you ran slap bang into suddenly this obstruction. But it's nice to see. And Amplify Gaming, it's not so nice to see from them because they didn't really find any sort of way to dealing with it.
Right, and Citizens, I think, bringing out some stuff I don't know we necessarily expected. Certainly some stuff that was not mainstream for the last patch. So this time around, I think they're bringing some good looks moving forward. I'm hoping that was not the last we see of Soldier 76 in this tournament, but we'll hopefully get to ask the player themselves, as it sounds like we're going to be bringing Aiko in here in just a little bit to have a few questions with us, Moxie.
Yeah, Citizens at the moment sort of feel like the grandpas of Overwatch, where they're just running everything that used to be popular back in everyone's good old day. But it's working. I don't know whether it's because teams prepare for what's currently on patch, or whether they're like just trying to put their all into dealing with this double shield, and they've forgotten how to play against the Reinhardt Zarya with this really odd throwback to DPS matchups, but it's definitely working out and paying dividends for them.
It certainly is. Now, before we go ahead and get started with the interview, we do want to remind you guys to vote for your MVPs down in Twitch chat. Show the players some love. Show them that you guys care about them. Let them know who you think is popping off. And with that being said, Aiko going to be hopping in chat with us here. How are you feeling after that game, my friend?
Feels pretty amazing to take the win really quickly and just move on. It's really fun.
Yeah, that was a very quick 3-0. Now, me personally, I'm gonna go ahead and apologize. I did not think the Soldier was gonna get as much value as it did. I was amazed. Was that something you were really gunning to use, or is that like just a specific mecha-based strategy you guys have?
I'm the strategy on that map actually. So we originally we didn't want to run it, but I kind of forced it. People tend not to believe in the Soldier, and it ends up working every time.
Well, I will now completely vouch for that sentiment. I was very happy to be proven wrong on that one.
Alright.
Now, moving forward, or I guess more so looking back, obviously these patch notes have been out for what feels like a very long time. How much effort would you say you guys put into learning this patch over just practicing and refining the last patch, given that it kind of dropped in the middle of the tournament?
We put I think around 6 hours today just scrimming and trying to find out what works and what doesn't. And we're gonna look to put in more time right after that. That's it. We didn't really put that much time in because the patch came in today.
Okay, well, hey, it seems like it's certainly working out for you guys. We saw a lot of really unique looks as outside of the Sigma Ori that I think we were talking a lot about. Isn't that right, Moxie?
Yeah, so I have to ask, you're running this Rein Zarya. Is it because you think that the teams aren't going to be quite as prepared for the old sort of tank lineup that used to be very meta in Overwatch because they've been dealing with this double barrier? Have you found that it's easier now to run the Rein Zarya than it was previously?
We have two very, very talented Rein Zarya players, and we just doubt they'd be able to counter it.
Well, it doesn't look like they had the best time kind of getting one over on you guys. I mean, the score kind of speaks for itself. So I think overall seemed to be really, I guess, effective in that sense. Now, I want to go back to kind of talking about preparing for this patch and how you said you guys have a very limited or had a very limited amount of time for that. What does a typical section of practice scrim blocks look like for you guys? Do you guys have any like pre-game stuff or what's your method, I guess?
We look back. We usually look back at our old VODs and try to learn our mistakes from our previous like scrims and stuff like that. And right now we're just trying out new things, like completely new things, like things that people would never expect because we're just trying to predict the meta right now. We're very confident Soldier's going to be part of that meta, to say the least.
Well, if so, I could not be happier. It's a little bit of a throwback to the traditional first-person shooters, so certainly be nice to get that ready and see that on the front line. I know that talking to a lot of different teams, they seem to have different opinions on what's going to be strong. We were talking to somebody a little bit earlier who said that projectiles actually seemed that they were a little bit stronger now that Sigma's kind of gotten a nerf, a change.
Yep.
And whatever you want to see it. Do you guys anticipate incorporating more of a projectile element into your play?
We're looking at Farah Hanzo right now over the old Doom Reaper because of the Sigma changes. We're mostly just experimenting with different things, but Farah Hanzo seems to work out really well, and some Mei into that as well. But the meta for the time being might actually just stay the same. We're not sure yet though. But yeah, that's really all.
Well, it's certainly going to be exciting times as we get moving forward. But Aiko, I know that it was a quick game, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here so we can go ahead and let you go. Moxie, did you have any other questions before we say farewell?
I was actually going to ask, you say that you think Soldier is going to be coming back into the meta, so that probably means that quite a few people will be wanting to main him. Is there any advice you can give for any budding Soldier mains?
Best advice I could give you on Soldier is to always run behind the enemy team. Lock the legs, go behind the enemy team. Very simple. Not much to it.
Very good advice for all of our lower tier players or less knowledgeable at Soldier tier players, I guess, who are watching the stream. But Aiko, I think that's going to be it for our interview. I want to give you a big thanks for coming in here, answering a few questions for us. Anything you'd like to say before we send you off?
Follow twitter.com/AikoW on Twitter. That's it. And thank you for your time.
Fantastic. Thank you, Aiko, and congratulations for grasping the win.
Roger.
Now, with that, Moxie, it is the time of night, evening, whatever you like to call it, for us to announce the viewers MVP. So are you ready?
Yeah, we've gone over how bad my drum rolls are, so I'm just going to let you take that away without putting that into the viewers' ears.
So it seems like the viewers vibing on the supports right now. Sayumi going to be getting the viewers MVP award coming through from Twitch chat. Congratulations, Sayumi, for winning that award. As well, congratulations to Citizens for coming out on top of this losers bracket for the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl. However, on the other side of things, hope to see Amplify Gaming again in a later tournament. However, it will be the last time we have seen them in this one. They will be eliminated from the tournament. And with that, we are about ready to wrap it up here, folks. For your casting entertainment, I have been Sir Waltham. You can catch me on Sir Waltham on Twitch or Twitter, WALTHAM.
And I have been your color caster, Gut Moxie. You can come stalk me on Twitter at Gut Moxie. That's Gut Moxie with 2 T's. Because, as I tell myself every day, someone else snagged the name first.
Oh.
But originality, it's dead in 2019.
That's true. It's just my Twitter handle is actually just a retweet of somebody else's retweet of a Twitter handle. So kind of just the way it works. But for all of us here at the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl number 3, we'd like to give you guys a big thank you for tuning in with us. We hope you guys have a great night and stay safe out there, everybody.